theory is probably going to blow your mind. I'm just saying. Hello there! How you doing? If you're new, don't judge me for the iMovie intro, please. Today we're going to be talking about Felix Felicis. Did I pronounce that right? According to Wonderbook Book of Potions, when brewed correctly, the drinker of this potion will be successful in all their endeavours. But be warned, excessive consumption is highly toxic and can cause extreme recklessness. And according to Slughorn in the Half-Blood Prince...
Desperately tricky to make, disastrous should you get it wrong. One sip and you will find that all of your endeavours succeed.
And from what we know from when Harry drinks it, is that it kind of acts as a conscience to the drinker.
Trust me, I know what I'm doing. Or Felix does.
It kind of sounds like Jiminy Cricket in a bottle. Why he knew that going to Hogwarts was the right thing to do? He had no idea. It was as though the potion was illuminating a few steps of the path at a time. He could not see the final destination. He could not see where Slughorn came in, but he knew he was going the right way to get that memory. I think this is the most important description of Felix Felicis we get in the entire Harry Potter series. Because this tells us, despite the fact it helps you achieve all your endeavours, you don't know why each specific step helps you reach your end goal along the way. However, in all the cases of people drinking Felix Felicis in the books, they're knowingly drinking it for a specific reason to help them reach a certain end goal. Harry drinks it to get the memory off Slughorn. Ron, Hermione and Ginny drink it to survive the battle at the end of the Half-Blood Prince. And to quote Ginny, "Harry, if we hadn't had your Felix potion, I think we'd have all been killed, but everything just seemed to miss us." And Professor Slughorn also recalls drinking it twice. But if someone drinks Felix Felicis unknowingly, they presumably achieve something they want to achieve, they just think they've achieved it on their own. For instance, say Aberforth Dumbledore, completely random example, put some Felix Felicis in a pewter jug of mead that he served to Harry, Ron and Hermione in the Hog's Head before the Battle of Hogwarts. Would it have helped Harry, Ron and Hermione defeat you-know-who? Yeah, of course it would have helped them. But I don't just think it would work. I think it did work. "I got food," said Aberforth, and he sloped out of the room, reappearing moments later with a large loaf of bread, some cheese, and a pewter jug of mead, which he sat upon a small table in front of the fire. Ravenous, they ate and drank, and for a while there was silence, but for the crackle of fire, the clink of goblets, and the sound of chewing. This paragraph is potentially the most important in the entire series, because it was at this moment their luck in the battle against Voldemort started to change. Although it doesn't show Harry drinking in the film, it does explicitly say that they all drank in the books, and I'm sure evidence later in this video proves he drank this spiked mead. And I don't know how much Felix Felicis Aberforth poured into the mead, but he definitely poured enough in for it to last Harry until the end of the battle. Because after this meeting with Aberforth, and throughout the battle all the way to the end, Harry literally succeeds in all his endeavours. Let's just go through some examples of extreme luck, shall we? Firstly, he talked the Grey Lady into telling him about the diadem way too easily, especially considering she refused to tell generations of students. Like, seriously, the only other person she told was Tom Riddle, and he could have potentially been under the influence of the Felix Felicis he won from Slughorn. And it's even in the text. He did not know how he managed to gain her confidence, and did not ask. He simply listened hard as she went on. That's an interesting detail for J.K. Rowling to include, saying not even Harry knew how he talked her into telling him. Oh, and trust me, that's the first of many very vague details about Harry's decision-making during this battle. Almost as if a certain Felix was pulling the strings inside his head. And if you don't think that's good enough, let's remember how he, Ron and Hermione literally ran through the entrance hall while the battle was on without picking up as much as a scratch. Another thing that just seemed to be sheer luck was when Harry went to kill Nagini, you know, when Voldemort was killing Snape. Voldemort opted not to use the killing curse for once, and left just before Snape was actually dead, giving Harry just enough time to go talk to Snape at his deathbed and receiving a vital memory withholding the information on how to defeat Voldemort. Why Harry even approaches Snape at this moment makes no sense, considering how Snape has treated him for the last 7 years, and that Harry basically blamed him for the death of his parents, unless you consider he's taken Felix Felicis, and that despite the fact it helps you achieve your endeavours, you don't really know why each specific step helps you achieve your end goal along the way. To quote the vague goings-on inside Harry's head from the books again, he did not know why he was doing it, why he was approaching the dying man. He did not know what he felt as he saw Snape's white face, and the fingers trying to staunch the bloody wound at his neck. Harry took off the invisibility cloak and looked down upon the man he hated, meaning he didn't know why he had to approach Snape at his death, but something was telling him he had to, and that he had to waste valuable time and take this memory from this man he hated up to the pensieve in the headmaster's office and look at it. This something being Felix. Let's see if there are any more examples of extreme luck. Oh yeah! The castle was completely empty. Even the ghosts seemed to have joined the mass mourning in the Great Hall. Harry ran without stopping, clutching the crystal flask with Snape's last thoughts, and he did not slow down until he reached the stone gargoyle guarding the headmaster's office. Password? Dumbledore, said Harry without thinking, because it was he whom he yearned to see, and to his surprise the gargoyle slid aside, revealing the spiral staircase behind. Nope, it is not possible for someone to be this lucky. I'm just saying, if you somehow still think this is all pure coincidence, just think about how many different words there are, and what do you think the chances of Harry guessing the right one are? Also, he just randomly decides to tell Neville that Nagini needs to be killed before he goes and hands himself over to Voldemort. Are you ready for another quote from the confused, vague goings-on inside Harry's head? Sure you are. The idea had come to him out of nowhere, born out of a desire to make absolutely sure. You know Voldemort's snake, Neville? He's got a huge snake. Calls it Nagini. I heard, yeah. What about it? It's got to be killed. Ron and Hermione know that, but just in case they're busy and you get the chance. Kill the snake? Kill the snake, Harry repeated. All right, Harry. You're okay, are you? I'm fine, thanks, Neville. And then, I guess out of pure convenience, guess who's the one who kills the snake? Like, why Harry even chooses to tell someone doesn't even make that much sense. But the fact he chooses the person who happens to draw the sword of Gryffindor and kill the snake within, like, the next hour, it's just some pretty good fortune if you ask me. But no, his strokes of luck don't end there. He manages to survive a killing curse within the next few minutes. And I know it's been explained how Harry survived this killing curse because, you know, Voldemort killed the part of his own soul living inside Harry rather than Harry himself. But when Nagini is chopped in half, both Nagini itself and Voldemort's soul living inside Nagini are both destroyed. So maybe the Felix Felicis was paying him a helping hand in this situation. And even if you don't want to believe it helped him out there, it continued to help him out after death. Voldemort chose Narcissa Malfoy to check if Harry was still alive, who was literally the only person in the Forbidden Forest who would have lied to Voldemort had Harry been alive and not dead. Because Narcissa knew the only way she'd be permitted to enter Hogwarts and find her son was as part of a conquering army. She no longer cared whether Voldemort won. And may I point out that him going to save Malfoy in the Room of Requirement is another one of those not really knowing why each specific step will help you reach your end goal moments. But because he had Felix Felicis in his system, one of the steps to defeating Voldemort was saving Malfoy.
We can't leave them!
Okay, so I'm hoping after all that evidence you're on the same page as me and you agree that Harry was really lucky in the Battle of Hogwarts. And that the most likely cause of this was Aberforth pouring some Felix Felicis into the mead that he served Harry, Ron and Hermione at the Hog's Head, since this is the only record of them drinking anything before the battle. But as with any theory, there are some flaws and unanswered questions. Like, for example, he served the mead to Harry, Ron and Hermione, so surely Ron and Hermione should have been really lucky too, right? And despite not having as many examples because the books document Harry's story rather than Ron and Hermione's, there are some examples of Ron and Hermione getting lucky too. I guarantee someone's just paused the video and gone commented down below, yeah, haha, Ron and Hermione did get lucky. I'll start with Ron. He had a bit of a lucky break when he worked out that they could go get the fangs from the basilisk to destroy a Horcrux. This may not have been considered lucky, but Hermione was impressed by it.
We were thinking.
Well, Ron was thinking it was Ron's idea. It's completely brilliant.
But yeah, that might not be strong enough evidence, so let's consider how he spoke parcel tongue to get into the Chamber of Secrets. And yeah, he does explain how. But how did you get in there, he asked, staring from the fangs to Ron. You need to speak parcel tongue. He did, whispered Hermione. Show him, Ron. Ron made a horrible strangled hissing noise. It's what you did to open the locket, he told Harry apologetically. I had to have a few goes to get it right, but he shrugged modestly. We got there in the end. But like, let's not forget how long ago it was when they destroyed this locket. Like, it was a whole film ago. The fact he can remember that is kind of crazy. Crazy lucky. Hermione, on the other hand, dives out the way of a killing curse. It's that Avada Kedavra! Harry saw Hermione dive aside. And if that's not enough, let's not forget Hermione destroys a Horcrux. And if you don't think destroying a Horcrux is a big deal, keep in mind that Horcruxes have defense mechanisms, you know, to stop them from being destroyed. Like how the diary sucks the life out of Ginny, the ring curses Dumbledore, and the locket kind of works a bit like a boggart, in my opinion. And this is Hermione who ran screaming from a boggart in her end-of-year defense against the dark arts exam during the Prisoner of Azkaban. Hermione did everything perfectly until she reached the trunk with the boggart in it. After about a minute inside it, she burst out again, screaming. And I'm not saying she's not capable of destroying a Horcrux. She's very capable of destroying a Horcrux. I'm just saying a little bit of luck goes a long way. And let's also consider that when Harry took the liquid luck in the Half-Blood Prince, despite the fact his main motive was to get the memory from Slughorn, he did want to win Ginny over in the back of his mind. And of course, he kind of achieved this by triggering her breakup with Dean. Getting through the portrait hole was simple. As he approached it, Ginny and Dean came for it, and Harry was able to slip between them. As he did so, he brushed accidentally against Ginny. "Don't push me, please, Dean," she said, sounding annoyed. "You're always doing that. I can get through perfectly on my own." So despite the fact defeating Voldemort would have been their main motive, maybe it would have been in the back of their minds to, you know, win each other over. And of course this happened when Ron, quite uncharacteristically, said, "Hang on a moment," said Ron sharply. "We've forgotten someone." "Who?" asked Hermione. "The house elves. They'll all be down in the kitchen, won't they?" "You mean we ought to get them fighting?" asked Harry. No, said Ron seriously. I mean, we should tell them to get out. We don't want any more dobbies, do we? We can't order them to die for us. There was a clatter as the basilisk fangs cascaded out of Hermione's arms. Running at Ron, she flung them around his neck and kissed him full on the mouth. Another question is, would Aberforth even be able to produce liquid luck? This one's a certain yes from me. Aberforth is actually a really powerful wizard. He just wasn't as powerful as his brother and always kind of lived in his brother's shadow. He's like the forgotten Dumbledore, to quote Elphius Doge.
People never do seem to count Aberforth.
But let's not forget, he cast this spell. But then again, this doesn't show whether he'd be good at potions or not. However, if you're not open to the possibility he could brew Felix Felicis, let's not forget he was in contact with Albus Dumbledore up until his death. And Dumbledore, being the omnisciently wise wizard he's portrayed to be, may have even given Aberforth some Felix Felicis to give to Harry if they were ever to meet in the future. And if you don't think Dumbledore could produce Felix Felicis, let's not forget Aberforth was in the Order of the Phoenix, and as was Snape, and Snape could definitely produce Felix Felicis. And finally, the last question. If they had taken Felix Felicis, why did so many of their loved ones die in this battle? This is a biggie. Realistically, Felix Felicis affects your own luck rather than the luck of the others around you. So the fact that the likes of Fred, Lupin and Tonks died isn't down to bad luck on Harry, Ron and Hermione's part, but rather bad luck on Fred, Lupin and Tonks' part. There isn't really enough information on Felix Felicis to explain this. But using what we do know, let's not forget that Ron, Hermione and Ginny took liquid luck on the night that Dumbledore died. So loved ones dying while under the influence of Felix Felicis isn't unheard of, and not even surprising considering there was a battle going on. And yeah, so basically Aberforth is the unsung hero of the Battle of Hogwarts, and Voldemort was defeated by the forgotten brother of the only one he feared. There is so much evidence for this, so I hope you agree with me, and it just makes Aberforth Dumbledore's character even better. I'm sorry this video was 2 days late, it's the longest video on my channel, but if you think it was worth the wait and it completely blew your mind, make sure to leave a like and click subscribe and potentially share this video with all your friends and maybe even JK Rowling. You could Twitter it. And I did explain why this video is late on my Twitter, so if you don't follow me on there, you're kind of missing out. If you enjoyed this video and want to see another Harry Potter theory about how Salazar Slytherin potentially killed the founder of Durmstrang, click here, or just check out my Harry Potter videos playlist here. And other than that, I'll see you guys next time.